Welcome to episode number 6, Construction Nation. This is Sue Dyer, your host of Construction Dream Team, where I interview industry leaders and experts so you can learn how to build your construction dream team based on OPE, other people's experiences. The shortest way to success is to learn from others who have been there and done that. If you want to receive Construction Dream Team on your phone automatically each week, please head on over to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe. We'd love a 5-star rating. This actually will help us become more visible in the search engines so more Construction Nation can find us and be able to listen. I am so excited about our guest today. Today we have Tom Taylor with us. Yay! Tom Taylor is the Senior Vice President at Webcor Builders. Tom's been in the industry for 28 years and with Webcor since 2005. He is an operations person. He came up from superintendent to project manager and worked his way up the ranks. So welcome, Tom. We're so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you so much, Sue. It's great to be here, and I'm really honored to be a part of the podcast. This is exciting.
Very exciting to me. This is going to be great. Now, Tom is someone that I've worked with on quite a few projects now, and I think he has some great insights for us. But you never get to where you are now. You had a pathway, somehow a journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the Senior Vice President at Webcor.
Well, my journey, I never expected to go into construction, to be honest with you. I was pursuing a mechanical engineering degree at Michigan State and got an opportunity for an internship with a large general contractor. And after the end of that 10 weeks, I just fell in love with the teamwork, the sense of accomplishment, the variety of people you're working with, and I was hooked from that point forward. And as you noted, started early in my career as a superintendent. I loved being in the field, boots on the ground, wearing flannel shirts. Didn't like so much doing daily reports. I think maybe that's the thing that drove me into project management. But I grew with the company there in the Detroit area. Mostly built schools, which I loved the feeling of the first day of school with the kids running in. So that sense of accomplishment and contributing to the community is something that's really drove my career. Moved out to California in 2005. And in some ways I went backwards. It was a little humbling because I was a director in Michigan and was a project manager when I came out here, but it provided me an opportunity to kind of touch certain bases again and really learn what it means to build in California. I never dealt with seismic bracing before. I'd never dug a hole 70 feet deep before in San Francisco. So it was an incredible opportunity to kind of relearn some fundamental skills in a different area. So I was lucky enough after that to lead High Rise. And then spent 6 years on the San Francisco General Hospital project, the level 1 trauma center in the city, and incredibly complicated for anybody out there that's ever built a hospital. You can relate to that, but also very rewarding in its what it means to the community. So that was the last project I was on, and since then I've spent some time in business development, spent a couple years in pre-con and estimating, and then I've been in my current role looking over our Northern California operations for the last 2 years. So really enjoying that.
That sounds great. Tell us a little bit more about Webcor Builders. How many people do you have? How are you structured? What's your competitive advantage in the marketplace?
Yeah. Happy to share that. Webcor's been around for coming up on 50 years. We were founded in the Bay Area, so very much a San Francisco, California company. We're a self-performing GC, which is probably one of the things that we're most proud of and what we think distinguishes our culture. There's 750 salary people and over 1,000 tradespeople, and we employ, I think, largest group of carpenters in the state of California, and so they are integral to the fabric of our company, and really drives how we pursue work, how we execute work, and how we measure the success of a project, and then that's. Are we setting up our tradespeople to be successful? Are we showing them the respect that they're due? And that's really where it's happening. Webcor has changed over the years. We consider ourselves a super regional company, able to build most anything. And in part, that's due to us becoming part of Obayashi Corporation coming up on almost 12 years ago now. Obayashi is a large international firm out of Japan, and they provide us with tremendous financial backing. That's one of the reasons we were able to do the San Francisco General Hospital project, the Moscone Convention Center, and other kind of unique, significant projects in our community. And as far as competitive advantage, we truly have extraordinary people. And I know people say that, but I've been in a couple of companies. I experienced a lot of other entities, and I'm incredibly proud of who we are as a group of people, and incredibly proud of what we do to focus our efforts on the community. And I keep saying that, but that's what gets us up in the morning, is trying to find the best ways to add value.
Give me an example where you guys are focused on the community. Must be doing some community group things too.
It happens in big ways and small ways. I mean, on a large scale, we're very involved with rebuilding together, and have been for 35 years. That's something that hundreds of people within WebCore will participate in. At the job site level, you have individual projects. There's one that's been contributing once a month at a local soup kitchen. When I was on the General Hospital project, we were able to sponsor some students from a local high school, some young women that were able to come in and work once a week for us to help supplement their education and also be exposed to who we are and maybe a possible career path. We were really instrumental in trying to get veterans into the construction industry. I mean, you've heard some of the programs that are like trying to help our vets. It was a great story about a homeless vet that we connected on the San Francisco General Hospital to the ironworker on the site. I mean, incredible story. He's able to provide for his family, got a stable job, and get off the street. So those are some of the first things that come to mind.
I remember a project that I worked on too with you guys in San Francisco, where the project manager was really involved in a nonprofit where he helped underserved kids in Oakland play rugby.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't play it. They didn't do well in school. So it sounds like it's a lot of the culture of the organization.
Yeah, the Warthogs. Yeah, we contributed that annually. It's not something I think, stand up and boast about, but it's something that we just enjoy doing. I've been to their events and been a part of supporting that program. It's incredible what that team has done for some really challenged youth in Oakland.
Cool.
Yeah,
so
cool.
What is the favorite part of your job and why?
That's a good question. Best part of my job, Sue, is sitting around a table and being able to collaborate with people on either a challenge or an opportunity. And some say brainstorming, but it's a process of where we challenge each other, we inquire, we're asking good questions, you're providing a different perspective, bringing your experience to the table. And at the end of it, you come up with the solution that nobody would have come up with on their own. And everybody can feel it. Those are really the best moments of my job, are those collaborative moments, collaborative times in a group.
That's cool. So tell me also, what do you think is your strength as a leader?
Strength as a leader, I believe it's my ability to both support people and draw the best out of them. I mentioned those collaborative environments, to be able to ask the tough questions, to encourage people, to challenge them a bit, but in a way that they're feeling supported and comfortable, to develop the trust with them, I think is really fundamental. I've used a phrase, and I picked this up years ago in a course. It's SAM. It's setting direction, aligning resources, motivating, and inspiring. And it's a really simple acronym for me to remember. And that motivation piece is the one I feel is most important, and something I do well. And the motivation comes in large part through feedback. The ability to, right when something happens, to appreciate the value that the person added, noting that positive recognition, or if there was a way that it could have been better, to say, hey, this could have been better if you had maybe addressed it in a different way. And people really, I think they hunger for that direct feedback, because we're all trying to grow. And so that's, I think, something that I'm able to offer.
Sam, huh?
Yeah.
So I understand that, well, I know you use a monthly scorecard, construction scorecard on some of your projects.
Yes.
And I know you weren't a great fan of it at the beginning. So tell me more about that.
You got me on that one too. Yes, I was a bit of a doubting Thomas. We have 5 projects at SFO, and SFO, as you know, is very into the structured collaborative partnering, which uses a scoreboard. And when we started off, we were setting goals, and they were, well, we want to be safe, and on budget, and on schedule. And I thought, yeah, of course we do. And then the scoreboards were starting to measure, well, how are we doing against these goals? And it took me a couple years of seeing the data before I could start to really appreciate the value. And it's within the last year that I see an incredible correlation. There's no mistaking this, that the scoreboard is able to predict how the project is going to perform. And I would not have believed that 5 years ago if I hadn't seen it myself. And we're talking 5 very different projects with different levels of complexities, with different stakeholders. So there's enough variables out there where the common factor is the scoreboard in the process. Coming to be a believer in that, and I'm one of the one that's preaching it in our own company.
So tell the listeners a little bit about how does the construction scorecard work that you're using at SFO?
So the scorecard provides an opportunity on a monthly basis for a large portion of the team, as well as the stakeholders, to kind of score how we're doing and provides feedback on critical issues. So I mentioned the goals that you establish early on in the project. So you're always measuring yourself against those. And on a regular basis, you are identifying key challenges or opportunities that you then start to track. So the team and the stakeholders can comment and assess how you're doing against those challenges or opportunities. And the thing that really kind of, I guess, was the aha moment is, as a leader of a project, you think you know what's happening but you see it from only your perspective, and you talk to others and try to get their perspective. But the ability of the scorecard to get everybody's input in a really safe, honest format. I mean, they know there's nothing bad that will happen from their feedback. Nothing but good. Is incredibly powerful. And I think the fact that everything that's brought up during this process from the team and from the stakeholders is treated with equal weight. And I think that's one of the beauties of it. It's kind of very much a meritocracy, that the best ideas or the biggest issues are treated by the team in an equal manner.
Oh, very cool. So is there any specific kind of lesson you've learned by using the scorecard? Like you've used it and it has helped you to, on a specific instance or a specific project, to do something you might not have otherwise done?
Definitely. One of our projects at the airport, it's off the property, so it's not airside, but we were challenged. I mean, we were not doing well on either the budget or the schedule, and you started to see that in the scorecard, and people didn't necessarily want to believe the issues that were being brought up, or they had, I'll say excuses, but they were able to kind of explain away why it was coming up as an issue or how it was going to be resolved. And I think when we finally embraced the feedback we were seeing from the scoreboard, it allowed us to make some changes. We made some changes in our staff Um, the airport did as well. I mean, I think we collectively stopped looking for excuses and saying, what can we do to make a change here? Because the path we're on is not a good one. And now we look back at that change a number of months ago and see just the positive results that have occurred since then. And I think everybody would agree it was needed, and we're on a really positive track to now achieve the schedule and the budget.
So it sounds to me that it really is sort of a tool for the team to have the ability to be accountable to one another. So what effect do you think this accountability has on the team?
Interesting. I think the accountability empowers the team. It emboldens them. It gives them a sense that their voice is heard. I used the term earlier, meritocracy, and I really believe in that. That doesn't matter who you are, what position you're in. That if you have the right idea, that can benefit the team. We need to find a way for the team to embrace that. I think the other thing that the accountability, the effect that it's had, is that it embraces the key components of building trust. And from my perspective, there's a number of elements to building trust, but talking straight, creating transparency, delivering on results, and keeping commitments are some of the most fundamental. And the accountability of the scorecard helps with every one of those. And when you've seen this, Sue, when you start to build that trust in a team, everybody puts their energy into support, looking forward to helping each other. How are they going to help the other person be successful, and not looking into questioning or challenging or doubting what another person is going to do or supposed to do. And so it's a really profound and interesting shift in where people put their time and effort. And when you're putting it on going forward and being positive and helping each other instead of doubting, you perform a lot better, and it's a lot more fun.
Do you have other accountability tools that you guys use?
We do. We have other forms of scoreboards. I think it's maybe the engineer in me. I love data. I think I always have, but come to appreciate the need to have scoreboards that are forward-looking. It's easy to measure what happened in the past, but it doesn't always help you much. So we use pulse surveys. It's a way to check how is our team performing. And when I say performing, I mean, do they feel like somebody cares for them? Are they having regular check-ins? Are they getting the feedback that they need? Those things that we all want and need in order to really find the value with our day-to-day job. So we use pulse surveys. We use some objective metrics that we're able to pull from our various databases. It's some that we're just creating right now that we'll be rolling out in early 2019 that we believe are going to be indicators of project success. And I'll give you one that I think is kind of fun and interesting. We'll see how it plays out. And that is measuring the electrician's billings versus what their projected billings are. And the theory is that as the electrician goes, so goes the project. And that just that's something that came out of a group discussion and brainstorming on what are the things that really provide the insight into the health of a project. So that's something we'll be trying out next year. We're always looking at testing new metrics to see which ones give us the best insight into our projects.
That'll be very interesting. It certainly is true that, particularly with all of the IT requirements and issues, as well as power.
Yeah, on any project. Yeah, on any project. That's the case. Yep.
So what kind of projects do you think could benefit from a construction scorecard like you're using at SFO? You got any thoughts on that?
I guess the first reaction is I think any project could. I don't know why you wouldn't use a scorecard, a scoreboard. Um, if you're a smaller, less complex project, it might not require as much executive engagement. The timing or depth of the scorecard might vary, but I would strongly encourage any team, and I look at it in our company and say, start off with a rigorous, detailed process to make sure that you're really assessing how the team is performing early on in the job. And most of the time, you see this, Sue. If the team starts off well, develops their trust, develops a good plan, they're generally going to do well. So I would encourage every project using a scorecard. And then as the project goes, if you want to scale back a little bit, you can. I think it's a good investment of time throughout. So I'll be using it on every one of my jobs.
It's interesting too to me is because like the construction scorecard is everyone, stakeholders, everyone, but then you also have like this individual one for the pulse ones, like are you doing all right? And then I love the idea that you have the company one, internal ones like the electrical billings. Can we get a handle on what's happening so that we can just manage the team or the trades? That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're in a time of big data. You hear it everywhere, and it's coming to construction. I mean, we're somewhat of an archaic industry, but we are changing very rapidly. You hear about a lot of venture capital money coming into the industry. There's a lot of consolidation of technology platforms happening. Just in the last month, there's been consolidation of significant platforms. So we're at, I think, a tipping point in our industry where the way we use data is going to change in really meaningful ways. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I see technology and many, many shifts that are happening quickly right now. So we're going to shift a little bit and ask you,
okay,
there's always challenges, things go well, some things don't go well. What is the very worst challenge you've ever had that you've ever faced in your career? Take us back to that exact moment.
Wow. Part of me says the worst challenge is oftentimes the ones that's right in front of you because you've made it through those ones in the past. But thinking back, so the worst one for me was more than 20 years ago. We were building a new high school at an incredibly fast pace. This is in Michigan. It was a 16-month construction time frame to build a 400,000 square foot high school. Beautiful terrazzo, lots of brick, really gorgeous facility. And there was tremendous pressure because the kids are coming. I mean, some projects you can shift the end date. If you're building a condo, nobody likes it, but you can shift dates. With the school, there's no way around it. There's 2,000 kids that were coming. And about 3 weeks before we opened, there was an incident where an elevator technician was making some final adjustments, and he had his ladder. It was only a 2-story hoist, but his ladder was sticking out of the opening, and it slipped, and he fell 2 stories. And he lived, but he was disabled. And I remember being in the elevator pit with the EMT and helping the gentleman out, and tradespeople in the area just yelling that this was our fault because we were pressuring too much and we were pushing too much to get the job done. And a month later, his wife, this gentleman, called me and told me what she was living with, and that was a dark moment in my career that I'll never forget. It's driven how I see safety. It's driven how I want to engage people on the project, and it actually relates to use of scoreboards in a way, and the ability for us to get feedback. I think if we would have come around to what we're talking about with the scorecard, I think if we would have had something in place like that at the time, I don't know if we would have changed the schedule, but maybe there's something we could have done as a team to to change the dynamic or the communication style.
Yeah, maybe someone
I don't
really
know.
was looking out for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a severe example, but
Yeah.
there are many other ones along the way in my career where I think having better feedback from the collective feedback of the team could have improved how we dealt with the challenge.
So, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice ever is really simple. That was from my dad, and that is you must have a positive attitude. That's first and foremost for me. It's what I share with my kids. That then you have to be able to walk into your day, no matter how bleak things are, and see a positive path forward as leader of projects. And no matter you can be a leader of a project uh, on day one in a job, day one as a PE, you can provide leadership. And but as a leader, you'd be able to need to set the vision, explain to people where you're going, and create some enthusiasm on how you're going to get there. And I don't think you can do that without some measure of a positive attitude. So that's something that keeps me going, and I think has been an important part of my success.
Cool. I always like to give a gift or resource to our listeners. So, share with us something that you has been meaningful to you that you would like to share. It could be a book, a link, a website. What would you like to share?
A book I've been talking about quite a bit in the last year. It's called "Thank You for Being Late" by Thomas Friedman. Wrote "The World Is Flat" and some other very popular books. And if you read the title, it's an optimist's guide to dealing with the rapid pace of change. So maybe that's why I like it, because I'm an eternal optimist. But he talks about dealing with the pace of change in our society across technology, across the climate, geopolitical, social, and how rapidly our world is changing. It used to be you'd get whatever version 3.0 of the Apple phone, and you'd adapt to it and you'd become an expert with it. And then sometime later, the next version comes out. We're now at a point in time where the pace of change is faster than our ability to completely adapt and understand the previous version. And so that's a really interesting tipping point in our society. And there are a lot of troubling statistics in the book, but underlying it all is some optimism in how to approach the world. And so there's some really good anchors in there for me. I'll give you one example. In the year 1800, 100% of textile manufacturing was done with manual labor. Over the next 100 years, between 1800 and 1900, 98% of it was automated. And yet, more people were working in textiles than in 1800. And so 98% gets automated, yet the number of people in the workforce there on that market sector has gone up. And it's because instead of just having one suit, you had all kinds of clothes. You had drapes, you had rugs. And so that's an important, really important concept for me, is to see that change as an opportunity. What can you do to embrace that and thrive with that?
That is awesome. So we will make a link to that from Amazon for anybody who wants to jump on and grab it. You can also get it in Audible, and that will be great. So how can people contact you if they wanted to connect with you?
The best way is through LinkedIn. You look for Thomas Taylor on LinkedIn at WebCore. That's a great way to connect. I look at that a few times a week at least, if not every day. I see and send messages and make a lot of connections. So I'd appreciate anybody that's listening that would like to have a conversation or connect in any way to please reach out.
Perfect. Okay, your parting advice to the Construction Nation. What can listeners start doing tomorrow so they can be more of a leader getting feedback or being positive?
I would say be outstanding. The next day you walk into the office and someone asks, how are you doing? Outstanding. If you come out with that, you will be really shocked at what a positive reaction you're going to get and a contagious effect that you're going to have of those around you. So be outstanding.
Well, you were outstanding today, and I sure appreciate you taking time from your very busy schedule to come and be a part of Construction Nation. And
so happy to do it.
I know that everyone's going to learn a lot from what you shared. It's much appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
So Construction Nation, dream teams don't just happen. Why not send out this episode to your entire team? Maybe they can become outstanding. The more people you have helping you, the faster you can build your construction dream team. You can't have your dream until you build your team. So please head on over to constructiondreamteam.com to sign up for our newsletter. And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher. And we'd love to have a 5-star review. Construction Dream Teams drops every Monday morning at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please join me next week when I will interview another industry leader or expert so you can learn how to create your construction dream team. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, Tom. I'll catch you next time.